So what is PnP and why would you use it as a resist for etching? So using PnP or press and peel paper is a way of getting a black and white image as a resist for your etching, and you can either etch on original pieces, or in this video what we're going to be doing is show how we create master rolling plates that then you can roll into other annealed metals like annealed copper and not have to etch each piece. So these are some examples of our master rolling plates, and it has different textures that we use in our work repeatedly, and then you can just use that in the rolling mill and check out our rolling mill video to see how those are used. Now with press and peel paper, it was originally created for sort of the custom designed etch your own electric or computer circuits. So they'd make a special board that was covered in a thin layer of copper. You'd print out your circuit diagram, and then that would serve as the resist to etch through your copper and create your custom circuits. In this case, it's been used in the metalsmithing and jewelry world, and we'll go through how to prepare all these things. So first, you want to run the press and peel paper through with a stark black and white image, no grayscale, so then you have a good resist on the paper. And you want to make sure that your metal is perfectly clean and well prepared. What I like to do, in this case, we're using an 18 gauge brass plate for the master plate etching, and I like to pre-polish it and then go through and just give it a little bit of tooth with very, very fine steel wool. And then I will clean it again with acetone to make sure there's no oils or anything that'll be in the way. So once that piece is properly prepared and cleaned, I'll only handle it by the edges. The other main tools that I use for applying the PnP onto the brass master plate is just an old stainless steel spoon. You can use any kind of curved polished metal for burnishing, and I like to have a second tool to make sure that the PnP doesn't slide against the plate while you're heating it and burnishing it onto the piece. How it transfers is on a hot plate at around 300 degrees. So this is a very hot plate, and you can do it with other kinds of hot plates, but it's good to have a metal plate on the surface that'll diffuse and even out the heat. So I'll place the metal on there, put the PnP on, hold it in place, and burnish it. And what you're looking for is for the black of the printer ink to begin to transfer onto your cleaned brass plate. And you'll see just tiny little gaps between the black as it's pulling off the blue PnP paper. And as you see that, you can remove it from the hot plate, quench it in metal, and that should leave the black back as a resist. Just as a side note, if you're doing text that's going to become legible, you need to think about reversing that text, or if you have an image that you want one particular way, you want to make sure that you reverse it, because when it transfers onto the piece that as a resist, it'll be reversed. Now, if you're using these as rolling master plates for additional textures, you reverse it again because it goes through the rolling mill. So in this case, the text is printed normally, because like 2 reverses equal a regular. All right, so we're ready to get going. I'm going to handle the metal only by the side, placing it in the middle of the hot plate, careful not to touch the hot plate, and you want to place the PnP exactly where it's going to be on the piece. You don't want to move it around at all, because it can leave little shadows that can affect the etching. You want to make sure that it's clean, placed properly on the metal, keep it right there, and then I'll use my 2 different burnishing tools just to slowly work it down. As it heats up, the heat will start transferring to the PnP paper. You want to slightly burnish out any air bubbles that you see. And I'm using the one tool to hold it in place and the spoon to sort of burnish the PnP down. And you don't want to burnish too hard, because that can cause the black of the toner ink that's on the PnP to smudge and transfer. But you do want to make sure that it completely lays down flat against your metal, and you want to be patient and also be very, very careful about the hot plate, because it does require around 300 degrees. And I did a project and got a great deal of help from a friend and colleague, Harlan Butt, who does a lot of PnP resists for etched components in his work. And I asked, like, how do you always get it so perfect? How do you do such a great job with it? And he said, well, it's not that hard. You just want to do it right. I always thought that. I think that every time that I'm doing any kind of PnP with etching, I think it's a brilliant approach. So I'm watching for any air bubbles. You just want to be patient. Another stage that people often forget about is quenching in cold water, which will help any of the resist that might be not fully transferred onto the metal and slightly sticking to the backing blue sheet. Helps it to stick to the metal there. Now you may or may not be able to see in the video, starting to see some of those kind of white gaps of the black transferring down onto the metal. It's not a tremendously exciting process, but just have to be slow, gentle, and patient with it. Now you can, if you wait too long, again, that toner in the resist can start overheating and smudging a bit. So you want to kind of find that sweet spot and just do it right. Now another thing, when I'm taking it off the hot plate, this is a tricky maneuver because you can catch the corner of the PnP and begin peeling it before you quench it in the cold water, and that can not leave as solid of a resist for you. So you want to make sure that you're only pushing on the metal, not on the PnP. See, like I just lifted it there. What not to do, right? And then we quench it in cold water. And hopefully that black text, now it's cooled down, has adhered to the metal. And there we go. And we'll get on to the second stage with etching it with ferric chloride. Okay, so we're set up for the actual etching stage of this. And full disclosure, where in the previous part of the video I said I knocked a bit of the PnP paper and peeled it up from the edge of the brass, hopefully you can see that some of that black remained on the PnP paper, and since I pre-peeled it, you can see the rest of it fully came off the PnP paper when it was quenched under cold water in the sink. Now I got lucky on, you see the resist on the brass plate, that a fair amount of it did transfer through the burnishing onto the brass plate, but not all of it. So sometimes you luck out, sometimes not. But if you want to get really precise details, you need to follow each stage very, very carefully. Now, what I did off camera was peeled off the PnP, covered the back of this brass plate with duct tape, and hot glued it to this foam for flotation in the ferric chloride. The way that ferric chloride works is it's actually a salt, not an acid, and so it works slightly differently. And so what's important is that the piece that you're etching remain upside down in the bath so that the metal that is being eaten away falls away from your piece and doesn't get in the way of the etching process. So it's very important that it's floating upside down, and you can do that any number of ways. In this case, as long as you carefully hot glue gun it, it'll stick to the foam and float in the ferric chloride just fine. We have a separate bin just for ferric chloride work because it does stain, as you can see from these red stains on the pink foam. It stains anything it comes in contact with, so you definitely want to keep it away from skin, clothes, anything else. And of course, when handling any chemistry, always have eye protection, gloves, all safety precautions necessary. So we've set up the ferric chloride. It works better if it's slightly warmed. So again, I have some kind of scientific lab equipment that is both a heater, so it's a slight hot plate, not as hot as the one that we use for transferring PnP, and then also it has a magnetic stirrer, which it looks like just a small pill, and it's placed inside of the ferric chloride, and then you can control how much it's spinning by this dial here. So you can dial it way up, and you can really see it starting to stir. But you don't want too much of that stirring action, because it'll actually etch small little waves into your piece. So you really want to have sort of the minimal amount of stirring, but that helps get fresh solution to your piece and gets a really nice, clean, deep etch. Another thing that I recommend is checking about depending on the freshness of your solution, about every 10 to 15 minutes, and having a dedicated brush where if you have any air bubbles on your piece from the chemical reactions of the ferric chloride with your metal, that you can brush those air bubbles away. Otherwise, they'll also serve as a resist, and you'll get small little pock marks into your piece. So when you're ready, you want to, again, make sure you have all your safety equipment. This is being stirred and slightly warmed, and then I'll just deposit it into the ferric chloride, set my timer, and we're obviously not going to record checking every 15 minutes and brushing it off. So we'll just get it started. And we're off. All right, so we're done etching. It basically took about 45 minutes. About every 10 or 15 minutes, I brushed any of the air bubbles off of it and just checked to see how the etch is going. But this is definitely deep enough for what we need. And you can see the resist from the PnP paper. It's nearly all taken from the PnP and transferred to the metal there. So you can sort of, a good transfer of that, you should be able to see through the PnP where that toner from the printer was. So here's the plate, and we have another video about rolling mills, and I'll just show you how we use this. The things that we did after etching, what I did is I removed it from the floating foam block, took the duct tape that was on the back off, neutralized the ferric chloride with ammonia. It's important because it's a salt, not an acid, so you don't neutralize it with baking soda, you neutralize it with ammonia. Cleaned that all off, used acetone to take any remaining resist off, and then that's a nice clean rolling plate that can be used. And so I just have a annealed blank of copper, and I'll show how this texture can be quickly transferred into it. I already set the distance on the rolling mill. Just sandwich those together. It shouldn't be very difficult, because if it's over tight, then you risk damaging your master plate there, which you don't want to do. And then in the end, you can see the text transferred from the plate onto the copper. And so that in the long run, if you wanted to do multiples of the same texture, is a great way to go to save you a lot of time. So that's PnP resist for ferric chloride etching and making a rolling mill master plate. So I hope that was informative for you. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to hit that subscribe button so that you can hear from me when I post future videos. Thanks for stopping by.